Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Marshall Hall, headquarters of the United States Army Forces Command and the FORSCOM Change of Command Ceremony. FORSCOM is the largest command in the United States Army, and it is the Army's force provider to combatant commanders worldwide. The command trains, mobilizes, deploys, sustains, transforms, and reconstitutes conventional forces, providing relevant and ready land power in defense of our nation, both at home and abroad. Forces Command tailors the resources and training of its units to meet the specific and ever-changing requirements of combatant commanders. We would like to extend a special welcome to our distinguished guests who have joined us for this occasion. Ms. Holly Ann Milley, Ms. Connie Abrams and their children, their son Robert II, and their daughter, Carolyn Farmer, and her husband Chris, and daughter Gwendolyn. General Abrams' brother, Brigadier General Retired Creighton Abrams Jr., and his wife Joan. His brother, General Retired John Abrams, and his wife, Cecilia. Sister Janine and her husband, Lieutenant Colonel Retired John Daly. Sister Elizabeth and her husband, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Sam Doyle. And cousin, Julie James. Miss Abrams' brother, Sergeant First Class Retired Raymond Clevenger, and other members of the Abrams family. The Honorable Eric K. Fanning, Acting Under Secretary of the Army. General Retired James J. Lindsay, former Commander-in-Chief, United States Special Operations Command. General Retired William F. Kernan, former Commander, United States Joint Forces Command. General Dennis Vai, Commanding General, United States Army Materiel Command, and his wife, Linda. General David Perkins, Commanding General, United States Army Training and Doctrine Command. General Retired Dan K. McNeil, former Commanding General, United States Army Forces Command. The Honorable Mary K. Warnell, Mayor of Pembroke, Georgia. Command Sergeant Major Scott Schroeder, United States Army Forces Command, and his wife Marla. Command Sergeant Major James Sims, Army Materiel Command. Command Sergeant Major David Davenport, Training and Doctrine Command. Other general officers and SESs and senior military and civilian leaders, mentors, and friends, thank you for honoring us with your presence here today. The music for today's ceremony is performed by the 214th Army Ground Forces Band under the direction of their commander and conductor, Captain Day Kim. The color guard is from the 108th Air Defense Artillery Brigade, led by Sergeant Taylor Jenkins. They are the most recent winners of the 18th Airborne Corps' Color Guard competition. The salute battery is from Bravo Battery, 2nd Battalion, 319th Airborne Field Artillery Regiment, and is led by First Lieutenant John Jansen and Sergeant First Class Michael Mabry. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for honors, the national anthem, and invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Colonel David L. Waters, Sr., FORSCOM Chaplain.
Please pause with me as I pray. Father, I come to you in the name of your Son, Jesus, and ask for your blessing on today's ceremony. First and foremost, I acknowledge that it is due, all the honor and glory is due to you, Father, for your great love for our nation and our Army. Because of that, we are able to gather today as a free people. Throughout our history, you, O Lord, have watched over the many warriors and family members of FORSCOM, and for this we give you thanks. Today we remember and celebrate soldiers past and present who faithfully serve our nation both here and abroad. Today we pause to thank you for the heartfelt and courageous leadership of General Milley. As he relinquishes command, we ask for your blessing on him and his family. As they transition to D.C., may the memory of a job well done here at FORSCOM comfort their hearts and give them peace. As General Abrams takes command, we welcome him and his family to FORSCOM and to Fort Bragg. Direct his steps, O Lord, as he looks to you and puts his trust into you. Give him everything he needs to lead this great Army command. And as we depart this place, may we all recommit to selfless service and to live lives with integrity befitting honor in light of those who have gone before us. I ask all of this in the name of my Lord and Savior. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Waters. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, a bouquet of red roses is being presented to Miss Holly Ann Milley by Staff Sergeant Yanaris Atherley. Red roses farewell them with love and appreciation for their many contributions to the command and the community during their tenure here at Fort Bragg. Yellow roses are being presented to Miss Connie Abrams by Sergeant First Class Heather Honor. Yellow roses welcome Miss Abrams with joy and friendship to the command and the community. On behalf of General Abrams, his daughter Carolyn is being presented with a single yellow rose, and his son Robert is being presented with a FORSCOM coin. These are just two small tokens to recognize their many years of sacrifice in support of their father's service to our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, General Odierno will now conduct the change of command ceremony. Under the provisions of Army Regulation 600-20, the undersigned assumes command of the United States Army Forces Command. Signed, Robert B. Abrams, General, United States Army, commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, the 38th Chief of Staff of the United States Army, General Raymond T. Odierno.
Good morning, everybody, on this great North Carolina day. I want to welcome all of our guests here. First, the Abrams family, the Milley family. Command Sergeant Major Schroeder, thank you for your great leadership of the FORSCOM. Honorable Fanning, sir, it's great to have you here. Thank you for being here. General Lindsay, always great to see you, sir. General McNeil, wonderful to see you, sir. General Vi, General Perkins, Sergeant Majors, other general officers, I can't thank you enough for attending this ceremony today. As I was thinking about doing this, I realized that This is my 5th FORSCOM commander as Chief of Staff. Thurman, Rodriguez, Allen, Milley, Abrams. So what's come to clear to me is FORSCOM commanders can't hold a job. But the good news is they all seem to go on to bigger and better things. And although I've really tried to get some stability in FORSCOM because it's such an important command in our Army, too many opportunities have come up to allow these great leaders to go on and do other things, and that's the case today as well. But the good news, as you all know, whenever we do this in our Army, we always have another incredible leader who can just step right up and take over. And that's why we're such a great Army. And what I've learned over the years is that's why we will continue to be a great Army. And that's because we have incredible officers, we have incredible non-commissioned officers, and we have dedicated soldiers who are willing to do anything, anytime that we ask them to do. All they ask is we give them the resources, the training, and take care of their families. And if we do that, they'll do anything for us. And that's really what FORSCOM is about. Forces Command is about our soldiers. Biggest command, as we were saying, I like the line, I think General Milley used it, it's the biggest organization except for the Catholic Church and the Chinese Army, I think. So I kind of like that. That was good, Mark. And I'll tell you, it's U.S. Army Reserve, National Guard, active. It's where we bring everything together, and that's why it's really it is the #1 operational and training command we have in the world. No other service has a command like this, and so it's an incredibly important command. So I want to thank all of the officers and the non-commissioned officers, the Department of the Army, civilians who do so much to ensure that FORSCOM continues its mission. So let's please give them a round of applause. As always, I want to thank the band. I want to thank the incredible color guard. It always is amazing to me when I look up at the Army colors, 188 battle streamers. We just added one for Somalia. Long overdue. Long overdue. That tells our story. That's the only story you need to know about the United States Army, right there. And it's always inspiring to me as I look at those colors and I have the opportunity to see those battle streamers. I want to thank the Salute Battery. Thank you so much for what you did today. This is a family affair, and we couldn't do it without our great spouses. Holly Ann, thank you for everything that you've done to support Mark and what you're going to continue to do to support Mark here in the future. We'll probably step it up a notch a little bit here. But the one thing I know is she's prepared to do that. She's an incredible lady, done everything that's ever been asked. She's an incredible servant, not only as a wife, but as a nurse, and she's proven that over time. She cares about people, she cares about soldiers, and that's incredible. So thank you, Holly Ann, for everything. Connie, thank you for all that you do and will continue to do. As I mentioned earlier at the promotion, you're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you for everything that you do, and I know you'll continue to do great things for our Army, because these are two great Army families. And again, that's what we're about. We're always about our biological family and our Army family, and these are two great examples of two great biological families and two leaders and spouses and family that are totally dedicated to our soldiers and their families, so thank you. So as I said, throughout our history, really World War II, FORSCOM has been the forefront. I'm not going to go over again everything FORSCOM does. I kind of just said what I really believe FORSCOM does. They're responsible for the readiness of the majority of our Army, personnel readiness, training readiness, sustainable readiness. They're there to execute new concepts. They're there to deploy and employ our formations and our soldiers anywhere in the world when it's needed. And they've done it magnificently, especially over the last 12, 13 years, and they will continue to do it as we change our missions and as we continue to be able to have to deploy soldiers no notice around the world. So I want to, again, thanks everyone here in Forces Command for everything that you do. Mark, thank you for what you've done here. Done an incredible job during important times. We are in an important transition in our Army today. And that takes leadership at all levels. And specifically, it takes leadership at our major command levels, like FORSCOM. Forces Command is responsible now as we're adjusting our readiness models, our training models, how we're continuing to develop the total force. Mark Milley has led that in every way. We've established a concept of regionally aligned forces, where we're aligning forces and moving them constantly to support our commanders. FORSCOM has been the driving force behind that. They continue to support operations on 5 continents. We're now rotating FORSCOM forces to Korea. We're rotating FORSCOM forces to reinforce Eastern Europe. We're rotating forces to Afghanistan, to Iraq. We're rotating forces to Africa, both North and Central Africa. There's FORSCOM forces in South America, simultaneously conducting a wide variety of missions, anytime, anywhere. So Mark, thank you for your leadership, the vision, the care, on how you've continued to drive this forward. I truly appreciate it. I also want to point out General Vi and General Perkins and the incredible synchronization, integration that has occurred between these 3 major commands, which is absolutely essential in our Army today. I want to thank all 3 of you for the great work, and I know that Abe will carry this on as he comes into Forces Command. So thank you very much. Mark, you're an incredibly gifted officer, which is obviously, you have the complete confidence of our leadership. And I know that many challenges await you in the Pentagon that will require patience, candor, team building, and a thorough knowledge of the joint organization, the multinational world that we live in today. Those challenges will require strong but balanced leadership of character. So I'm incredibly confident of everything I've seen of Mark Milley over the last 20 years that we have the right man for the job. And Holly Ann, again, I want to thank you for taking this on as well with Mark, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck as you move forward. And as I mentioned earlier, we always have somebody right behind us that's ready to come over and take over. Abe Abrams has an incredible experience and training throughout our Army. He has done every job, every command possible up through division command. He's deployed to several different theaters of operation. He's worked in TRADOC. He's commanded the National Training Center. And he's been the senior military assistant to the Secretary of Defense. He has all the attributes, the qualities that is necessary to take on this incredibly important command for our Army. And I have complete confidence in Abe that he's going to run with this command and take it to new heights. And in doing so, he's going to prepare our Army for probably one of the most difficult missions we have, which is the unknown, the unpredictable, which requires really depth leadership. And he's going to help us to rebuild the readiness that we've been consuming for over a decade now, which is essential to our future. He's going to help us to develop new concepts with TRADOC. He's going to help us to continue to develop our most important asset, which is our leaders, our non-commissioned officers and officers who will carry this Army forward as we go. So, Abe, Connie, thank you again. I know you're going to have a great time. Do what you always do. Lead from the front, care about our soldiers, and we'll be in great shape. So again, I want to thank the community for everything you do to support this great command and support the greater Fort Bragg area. You always do tremendous work. This is a great day for our Army, a great day for FORSCOM, a great day for 2 of our great leaders here. And I know that this command will carry on to lead us into the future. The strength of our nation is our Army. The strength of our Army is our soldiers. The strength of our soldiers is our families. And that's what makes this Army strong. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, General Mark A. Milley.
Well, Chief, thanks for those overly kind words, and I appreciate that. And we have really been blessed. I have to lower this because he's tall, I'm not. He doesn't have hair, I do. So, okay. So, but Chief, thanks so much. That's right. Oh, thank you. So I'll be bald at the end of this. Okay, I got it. So, Sergeant Major's been very busy. Pat Donahue, where you at? Take your hat off. We'll just line up all the guys with no hair. Line them up. JJ, get out here. Okay, so, but anyway, Chief, thanks. Thanks so much for being here and presiding over this. We've been blessed as an Army with the Chief and Linda as our leading couple, and I'll have some more to say about that at the end of the week. But in so many ways, Chief, we owe you so much. Our Army may not exist in the configuration that we exist today if it wasn't for you putting it all on the line so many times over the last 4 years. So on behalf of the entire Army, all the Army active, all the reserve, and all the National Guard, thanks so much for all that you've done, and thanks again for being here. And Acting Under Secretary Eric Fanning, thank you for being here. I appreciate that you made the trip down here. Look forward to working with you, and hopefully those of you who don't know Eric Fanning get an opportunity here at the end. Introduce yourselves to him. He's a great supporter of the Army. He's got great experience in the government, and there's no doubt that he will be a major league contribution to the Army's success in the future. And I also want to welcome the Abrams, Connie and Abe, but also the extended Abrams family. I think we've got pretty much all of Canada here. We've got pretty much all of California, most of Virginia, half of Massachusetts, and about 10 other states with the Abrams family here. But the Abrams family, as you all know, is really a national treasure. And so many, not just Creighton Abrams, the father, former Chief of Staff of the Army, but so many others have served our country at a variety of ranks. There's many generals in the Abrams family, but there's many colonels and sergeants and captains and lieutenants. So thanks to all of you for being here and for serving our nation so well. And I want to thank all of the general officers, NCOs, all the command sergeants, majors, and the civilians from Forces Command for being here. I want to particularly point out Generals Lindsay and McNeil, and I don't know if General Kernan made it, but this is the 75th anniversary of the American Paratrooper this week. And all three of them represent the epitome of what this base, Fort Bragg, is all about. Special operations, paratroopers, first to strike, rapid deployment, expeditionary operations. And these were three men who raised me. General Lindsay was my first CG. I've served in combat with both General Kernan and General McNeil many times, and they've been longtime mentors. So thanks to you for being here as well. And to the community leaders from Cape Fear region and throughout the state of North Carolina, and really from all of our nation. Your leadership is much appreciated and continues to inspire all of us. And Holly Ann and I are grateful for your partnership over this past year. To those here at FORSCOM, I want to start with my wife, Holly Ann, because oftentimes save it to the end and you forget. So I'll start with her and just thank you, Holly, for all your great support over the last year. And just in the last 30 days, she's managed to drive a Ryder truck or a U-Haul or some rental truck from D.C. to Chicago to move our daughter out there, turned right around and flew back and did the same thing and moved our son to Texas, flew right around, and 48 hours ago, she did a two-way trip up to D.C. with 8,500 pounds of stuff in it, mostly my books and other stuff that couldn't make it under the JTR rules up to D.C. So she's a true heroine of the American Republic, and she is so representative of all of our Army spouses. I also want to thank in particular three individuals. Pat Donahue, our Deputy Commanding General, our Chief of Staff, J.J. Wells, and our Command Sergeant Major Scott Schroeder. It's been no surprise to anyone here that I've been an absentee landlord for a while, bouncing back and forth to D.C. And these three soldiers, great soldiers that they are, have really taken the reins here at Forces Command. And in so many ways, they have actually been the commanding general of the largest organization in the military. So thanks to all three of you for doing that. Thanks for the primary staff like Price and Porter Hale, James, Goodwin, Hurley, Kilgo, McGee, Berry, and so many others who have made that all a reality. Your hard work, your dedication, your discipline really stands out and makes FORSCOM something to be very, very proud of. I want to thank the band and the salute battery and the color guard for being here and representing literally 800,000 troops out there. So thanks to all of you, and how about a quick round of applause for them. And I also want to thank two of my teammates that are here, Dennis Vi and Dave Perkins. General O already pointed out that really the triumvirate there of FORSCOM, TRADOC, and AMC really are the three major commands of the United States Army. And it's been so important to have these two fine officers over the past year. I couldn't ask for better teammates, better people, better leaders of character, tremendous competence, and really great. And I know that each of you will wrap your arms around Abe here and do the same for him that you did for me. And most of all, I want to thank our soldiers and our families. They are, as the Chief always says, the strength of our nation and our Army, and they continue to bear the brunt of the nation's service with incredible humility and confidence and professionalism. And today, as we speak, as we stand here in this ceremony at Fort Bragg, over 100,000 of them, I think it's about 130,000 actually, are serving in 130 countries, and many of them in harm's way, and several of them lost their lives in the last few days, as you saw on the news. And I would just ask that you always keep them in your thoughts and prayers no matter where you are. And service in the United States Army, it's not a privilege. It is a privilege. It's a distinct privilege. It's absolutely not a right. It's a privilege, and it's earned the old-fashioned way. It's earned through hard work and exacting standards of discipline and excellence, and that's what FORSCOM stands for. And because of the discipline that we have in the Army today, across the Army, across Forces Command, we have a combat-ready force built around our nation's most valuable asset, our sons and our daughters, who become soldiers of character and the best trained and best equipped Army in the world. And our fundamental task has been said many, many times before, and it's like no other in the face of the earth. It's to win. It's to win in the unforgiving crucible of ground combat, and there is no other experience like it. And over the past 14 years, United States Army's Forces Command has been the organization that has prepared the majority of our forces that have been sent into combat in Iraq and Afghanistan and many other places. And it remains our job, and will always be our job here, to train, to mobilize, and deploy these forces when the nation calls, and the call comes often. And when that call comes, it means we have an Army, and an Army that is ready to win, and to win decisively against any enemy of our country, anywhere, anytime, so the American citizen can enjoy their life and their liberty and their pursuit of happiness. And every year, 120,000 of America's sons and daughters raise their hand to take an oath of allegiance to serve our nation in the uniform of your United States Army. And in their contract with the American people, the Army makes the commitment to develop those young men and women as soldiers, as leaders, and to make them ready to fight our nation's battles. And while this ceremony is just a change of leadership, a change between two 4-stars of our major command, it also tightens our focus on Forces Command's mission to provide ready and responsive forces to our nation. That is the mission of this organization, and it's a mission that cannot fail. Our obligation as an Army, as Forces Command, is to ensure that we have ready forces, and no soldier should ever go into harm's way not fully equipped, not fully trained, and not well led. No one should ever go into harm's way unprepared. And readiness has been the #1 priority of Forces Command, and it will remain so. Given the reality of today's complex world and the high operational tempo the high operational pace. The focus of the FORSCOM team, the total team, remains readiness for warfighting and to build that force of the future. There are actually some out there, many not here at Bragg, probably none at Bragg, but many in D.C. and elsewhere, who think that wars can actually be won from the air or the sea alone. Those people are very, very wrong. And it's shown throughout history, and it plays out in the newspaper and the news every single night. To deter an enemy, to assure an ally, and to win a war requires it be done on the ground where human beings live, and they don't live in the air or under the sea. To prevail in ground combat takes great commanders, and FORSCOM has been blessed with the division and corps commanders who know what readiness means and how to win on the ground. We have men like Steve Lanza and Sean McFarland and Steve Townsend, Jeff Talley, Mike Tucker, and now Abe Abrams. General Abrams is absolutely the right leader to take command here. He is a proven leader in war and peace, and I have served with him in both. I was his commander in IJC while he led 3rd Division in RC South, and I was his wingman in Baghdad in some very violent fights. In fact, the very first time I met Abe was in a firefight. We were both taking rounds. Abe took point. He grabbed my M4 and left me with a 9mm. Thanks, Abe. That's actually not true. I just made that up on the fly. That wasn't written in here. I just thought it sounded good, Abe, but it was good. But we actually did meet in a firefight. But Abe brings the optimal combination of intellect and personality and vision. He's a soldier's soldier. He's tough as nails. He's incredibly competent. And he will definitely, in my opinion, elevate the FORSCOM team to the next level of mission success. As Holly Ann and I move on to the challenges of D.C., we are both very thankful, Abe, for you and Connie, that you're here and you're going to continue to build the momentum with Team FORSCOM. To serve as FORSCOM's commanding general is a singular, humbling honor, and it can never be duplicated. And it's an immense responsibility. And on behalf of the entire Milley family, we thank you and wish you all the best in the endeavors that lie ahead for FORSCOM. Freedom's Guardian, Army Strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commanding General, United States Army Forces Command, General Robert B. Abrams.
Well, good morning, and I promise to be brief. General O, General Odierno, our Chief of Staff, distinguished guests, I want to welcome also Acting Undersecretary Fanning. I know he's ecstatic to be out of the Pentagon, and we're lucky to have him in the Army. I'll also recognize those two great warriors, General Retired James Lindsay and General Retired Kernan. To both of them, they're for those of us in our generation, those are heroes of ours that we admired as we were growing up in the Army, and we're lucky to have them here. And I also want to welcome former FORSCOM Commander General Dan McNeil, and of course my two new best friends in the triumvirate, as General Milley called them, General Dennis Fye and General Dave Perkins. We're grateful that they could make it. And other civilian leaders, the great Mayor of Pembroke, Georgia, Mary Warnell, who's here, and all the other local leaders who took time out of their busy schedule to join us. So to all of you, welcome. We are honored, truly honored, that you would join us. And a special welcome to the Abrams posse, who is here in force today, as General Milley mentioned. 5 of the 6 Abrams brothers and sisters and their spouses together in one spot. And today we throw in 5 nieces and a nephew with families for good measure. Connie's brother Ray Clevenger is in from Louisville, Kentucky, and special thanks to our cousin Julie James, all the way from Feeding Hills, Massachusetts, our father's hometown. There are several more dear friends, West Point classmates, war buddies from across the Army who made the trek today. From as far west as California, as far north as Canada, as far south as Fort Hood, and everywhere in between. And thank you again, all, for taking time to join Connie and me on this special day. General Odierno, sir, thank you for the kind words, and more importantly, for your confidence in me to command U.S. Army Forces Command. Connie and I are thrilled to be back in the Army. I can't stress that enough. And joining a great team with a relatively short but incredible history. We're also very blessed to be joining an outstanding community filled with patriotic leaders and everyday Americans who have stood tall and supported all the units on Fort Bragg, as well as those across the entire FORSCOM team and their families over the years, but most especially for the last 14 years of back-to-back-to-back deployments for many of our formations here at Fort Bragg. We look forward to getting to know you. Now, if I seem a little excited today, I am. Every day is a great day to be a soldier, but it is incredibly good to be back in an Army formation once again. And not just any Army formation, but this is U.S. Army Forces Command, the premier force provider for land forces in support of the Secretary of Defense and combatant commanders' requirements. FORSCOM, as General Milley mentioned, has a proven track record of producing highly trained, well-led outfits capable of deploying anytime, to anywhere, and accomplishing any mission given. FORSCOM's record over the last 14 years of meeting requirements has been nothing short of heroic and frequently awe-inspiring. Readiness is and remains our #1 priority. Everything we do supports building and sustaining readiness. Now, FORSCOM is by design a total force command. Army National Guard, U.S. Army Reserve, and the active component. We are one Army, working together, shoulder to shoulder, to build and sustain highly trained and disciplined soldiers and formations in accordance with our Army standards. We are expert in our warfighting skills, ready to deploy and win in ground combat against any enemy. So it is our honor, our distinct honor, to rejoin the FORSCOM team, focused on building readiness today and preparing America's Army for tomorrow's missions. I have 4 responsibilities this morning. I've attended hundreds of ceremonies in my career. I know what's on everyone's mind. I'm the only one standing between us and getting on with the rest of our day. So let me be brief. General and Mrs. Milley, to Mark and Holly Ann, on behalf of the approximate 800,000 soldiers and Army civilians and their families of FORSCOM, let me publicly thank you for your outstanding leadership of this great team of soldiers, civilians, and families. As the Chief mentioned, FORSCOM's record mission accomplishment over the last year speaks volumes of the both of you, your commitment to the team here and to the Army. And I especially want to thank you both for your sponsorship of Connie and me during this transition. We wish you Godspeed, but don't speed as you head north and do your final preparations to assume duties as our 39th Chief of Staff of the Army on Friday. Command Sergeant Major Scott Schroeder, well done to you and the other senior non-commissioned officers and FORSCOM leaders for putting on a great ceremony that truly honors the Milleys. The Army Ground Forces Band and Salute Battery, awesome. You look and sound great. Your presence for this and every other ceremony you participate in makes it special, very special. Thanks for what you do. And lastly, to every soldier, civilian, and family member here today and those that you represent, you look terrific. I'm deeply honored to be standing up here today. As I said early, Connie and I are elated to join the Fort Bragg community. All of you, every single one of you, represent what is our most treasured resource, the very fabric of our Army, and that's the people. I want to thank you all for what you do in service to our country in time of war. All of you have voluntarily sacrificed a great deal for the greater good. Special thanks also to all our Army family members, spouses, and kids. It is you who shoulder the largest rucksack in support of your family member who just loves to serve. Thanks for all that you do. To the FORSCOM soldiers here today, I'm honored to join your ranks. Thank you all again for coming today. God bless our soldiers and families, especially those deployed in harm's way, and God bless America. Freedom's Guardian.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of the colors and the singing of the Army song.
Color guard, private colors. Right turn, march. Forward, march.
this concludes today's ceremony. We ask that you please remain in place for the departure of the official party and families. General and Mrs. Milley will receive farewells in the tent located to your right rear nearest the FORSCOM entrance. General and Mrs. Abrams will receive their welcome in the FORSCOM lobby, followed by a reception in the joint atrium. Thank you for attending today's ceremony. Freedom's Guardian.